Hi, my name is Mark Oliver with Fountain Lake Cobras Radio on 92.9 KVRE, radio play-by-play voice of the Fountain Lake Cobras, and today we have a very special guest with us, Fountain Lake's new head football coach, J.D. Plumlee. Hi, Coach. Thank you so much for making time to join us this week.
Hey, no problem. Glad to be here for sure.
Coach, over the years, you've had the opportunity to coach for many places throughout the natural state, from Malvern to Hot Springs, Lakeside, Harrison, Russellville. What was it about the Fountain Lake job coming open that inspired you to apply?
Well, coming off a 2-year turnaround in Russellville and winning the 6A state championship, and then, knowing a lot of folks in the area and the foundation that Tommy Gillen had left, and Mark Davis, the type of man he is, and him being the athletic director, and just, like I said, kind of knowing the area and knowing the foundation of how rich a tradition it has been in football. It was sought out by a lot of us in Arkansas. And on top of that, I think the way the campus and the field and everything's laid out, it's just a neat little place, and can't wait for Friday nights in the fall to get here.
Coach, a lot of people went out and applied for that job, and it was you who was named the head coach of the Cobras. How has your reception been from both the school and the community since your arrival?
It's been great. I was fortunate enough that Russellville was, allowed me to get out of my contract and come on down, and I kind of was hired on that next day, hit the ground running, and the coaching staff has been great. The administration is elite. Dr. Murphy, the new superintendent there, has been nothing but awesome. And then getting out in the community with Mark Davis the last couple of weeks and getting to meet a bunch of people has been just a really, really neat process. And, I just look forward to the future and continue to grow those relationships with the community and my coaching staff.
Coach, I know that you're really just hitting the ground running here since arriving at Fountain Lake, but have you had a chance to see the team that you're going to be working with next year? And if so, what are your first impressions of the team so far?
I have. We actually right now we're getting out on the field 2 days a week, and then we're throwing and catching at 7 a.m. on Wednesday mornings. I like what I see. I think we have a mixture of some good young freshmen that'll be sophomores next year to mix in with some seniors. I think, we're going to back up and be in the shotgun, 95% of the time. And we continue to run power and counter, which has been kind of Fountain Lake's bread and butter, and been able to add some RPOs to it. And we're in the process of installing those right now. And, I tell people all the time, it's a quarterback-driven offense. So I'll spend extra time with the quarterbacks and getting them ready. But the offensive design, when that ball is snapped, that we're not in a negative play. So the quarterback's got to be able to pre-snap read and know what his looks are, and then when the ball is snapped, be able to put it in the right position.
Coach, you really just led into my next question. This is a program that's traditionally known for running the wing T. They've done it for many years. You talk about moving into the shotgun, moving into the spread. What changes do you expect to implement, and how much of either offense might we see coming up in fall 2017?
Well, kind of like I said, with it, the seniors that I'll have for next year, they've been running the wing T since third grade. The learning curve is actually going to come with the skill players, with the receivers, the running backs, and the quarterbacks. Being able to kind of be in the spread offense. But the offensive linemen, I've spent some time with them, and counter's counter, and power's power. So their learning curve's not going to be as steep because we're going to call counter. But then depending on what tag we have with it, depending on what RPO we have, is kind of where the quarterback's eyes will be. So. Like I said in the previous question, the quarterback's going to have to really have a lot on his shoulders about, do I hand it off or do I pull and throw it? But the neat thing about the offense is our rules will stay the same. We don't have all these bunch of different looks and all these different reads. They're all basically the same thing based on the formation. So I really think the quarterbacks and the running backs, they haven't missed a thing. They're showing up for everything. And, just like anything else, it's a process. anytime you're coming in and changing the culture, there's a little bit of some growing pains and some learning pains. But we're fighting through those, and the kids have been awesome. And I know they're excited. I'm excited. It's just some fun times in Cobra Nation.
Coach, coming from Russellville, you're coming off of a state championship victory, something every coach dreams of. What did you learn as a coach last season that you might be able to bring with you to Fountain Lake High School this year?
Well, just that that the season's not made or broke on one play. It's a process. You're going to have your good days and your bad days, but I think the thing that I preach is family, and that stands for forget about me, I love you. And when you get a group of young men, 60 to 65 guys in a room plus coaches, and they understand the sacrifices that we have to make for each other, and you're not always going to love your brother or your sister, but you're always going to respect them and do the right thing. And when you can get a group of guys to do that, it's really fun, because last year in Russellville, we were not the most talented or athletic team in 6A football. When you rode out there against Arkansas High and West Memphis and El Dorado, we didn't have the speed or the size they did, but our guys just played so hard for each other, and I really strongly believe that was a difference. On the state championship game, we're playing Greenwood, and those guys over there, Rick Jones, they can coach some football. And when you go back and look at it, I think that the difference in the game was our guys just played harder than they did, and that was the outcome in the football game.
Coach, moving from 6A down to 4A, are there any challenges that exist in changing classifications like that?
There may be some, with the depth. We were had anywhere from 90 to 100 on the squad last year, and depth was not really ever an issue. We still had a lot of people ask me this question. We still had 5 or 6 guys that went both ways in the fourth quarter. When it meant something. So we're going to look at. We're going to change the way they've been practicing at Fountain Lake. They're used to going. Everybody on offense, everybody on defense, and we're going to split squad it, and we're going to be our best to try to build depth in the spring and all summer and try to limit the amount of two-way players. But, if there is any little bit of change, it's probably going to be that there's going to be more players having to play both ways when it comes crucial moments in the ball games.
Coach, I'm sure you've had a chance to take a look at the schedule for this upcoming fall. Any matchups on there that interest you? Anything intriguing to you from a coaching perspective?
Well, I didn't get in this profession to win games or to do all this and play in a weak conference and just win because we were just better. Going into the 7-4A, I mean, what a great conference it is. When you have the Nashvilles and the Robinsons and the Malverns and Ashdown, and then you throw in Mena, and you throw in Bauxite. I mean, you could argue it's the best conference in Arkansas high school football. So, man, I'm just excited about the challenge of having to go out there every Friday night and have to play very good football to win a football game, and that intrigues me, and it should intrigue anybody that's in this profession that that when you win, you want to earn it, not just have somebody give it to you.
I think you hit the nail right on the head. Very difficult conference that the Cobras have been able to find some success in over the past few years playing in the 7-4A. But, with your first year as head coach of the Cobras, what are your goals and expectations for the team for year one?
Year one, we're going to go out there and we want to compete. We have some non-negotiables, and that's attitude and effort that is non-negotiable. We're going to make mistakes. We're going to miss tackles. We're going to drop footballs. We're going to do all that just like any other football team will on Friday night. But our expectations should go out there and get in the playoffs and then see where we go from there. I mean, I know the talent that we're up against from coaching at Malvern and being in the same conference, so I understand the quality of football. And not only that, if you look at all those teams in our conference, look at the quality of coaches that are in those programs. And I think that's why it continues to be the toughest conference in Arkansas football because, like I said earlier, when you go out there on Friday nights, you better bring your A game or it's going to be a long night for you.
Coach, you mentioned meeting twice a week at this point. When does practice officially begin full-time, and what are your plans for the summer to help get this team where you want them to be?
Well, we'll have 2 weeks of spring ball starting May the 8th that we can go full pads, so we'll get some good evaluation on some young men in those 2 weeks and kind of get used to the tempo of practice, get used to how we're going to operate that on our drills. And then we break for summer, and we've got some team camps. We've got 2 team camps in June. We'll have one at our place on June the 1st, and then we're going to go to Russellville on June the 15th, and then we'll have the dead period. And then we come back in July, and we're going to team camp. Our high school guys will team camp every Tuesday in July, and then our junior high will team camp every Thursday in July. And we've got some 7-on-7 tournaments mixed in, and we're asking our guys to come in. The weight room's going to be open Monday through Thursday to come in and get their lifts and their conditioning in. And, when they come in, we may call for a quarterback receiver session for 30 minutes and just continue to throw and catch as much as we can. We use those team camps to really evaluate. So what I like to do is coming out of spring, I like to find I want to know where our weaknesses are and kind of our holes, and then use the team camps throughout the summer to try to plug those holes leading into fall camp that starts it actually starts July the 31st. Begin fall camp this year.
Coach, a lot of our fans on social media, they want to know if you can tell us anything about some of the players who are competing for spots this year. Most notably, if you can share with us any ideas on who the favorite might be to take over at quarterback this year.
Well, the quarterbacks right now that are working are Stephen Turner, Adrian Morris, and then Ian Lacey has really shown that he's got some tools. He'll be a ninth grader moving up as a sophomore. And so those 3 guys right now are the ones that are getting the reps. And then I'll have a package for, Andrew Robertson. I'll have a package for him just to get back there in what we call our, the Wildcat packages everybody's calling it, where we can just direct snap it to him and let him do his thing from the backfield. But those 3 guys that I mentioned are the quarterbacks that are fighting for a spot. And for me to name a front runner right now, I can't do that just because of the lack of reps that we've taken. In a full team session would not be fair. So, like I said, we're just evaluating those guys, and I have meetings with those guys separate than everybody else on Friday morning and just trying to get them ahead of everybody else, kind of give them a heads up. But I think between those 3. I could see any 3 of those guys right now being able to take over as the quarterback. So they, and they understand that. And like I said, all 3 of them have been working really hard for me.
Another question taken from our social media sites. What changes, if any, can we expect to see from the coaching staff this season?
Well, I've gone to a split staff. So what I've done, came in and Coach DeArmond will be the defensive coordinator. He'll coach the secondary. Coach Glenn Davis will take over coaching the defensive line, and Coach Shane Taylor will coach our linebackers. Offensively, I'll coach quarterbacks. Coach Josh Weston, I'm named him the offensive coordinator, and he'll coach wide receivers. And Coach Kenny Shelton will coach the O-line. And I've given those guys those positions, and they'll coach them 7 through 12. And then I've named Shane Taylor as the head junior high football coach, and he'll be taking over the reins on Thursday nights in our junior high program.
I think a lot of fans will be happy to know that some of the Fountain Lake faithful will be able to stay there and help continue on with the program. So you mentioned earlier in the interview, you mentioned about family. As a coach, I know that your duties are not only just related to on the field, but what you teach these young men off the field as well. What are some other values that you make sure you try to instill within your student athletes off the field?
Well, that's first and foremost. The rings that we win as coaches and all that, those are going to collect dust over time. You know, the relationships you build with your young men, you know, they don't collect dust because you continue to see those guys grow, become fathers, become husbands and successful people in the state or wherever they decide to go. And that's what it's all about. Yes, we have to win football games, and the memories you build in your, you know, on Friday nights are hard to beat. But, you know, I think in society we're in a place right now to where I'm trying to instill in these young men what it means to be a man and what it means to be a good father and husband. Because so many of our young men are coming from broken homes. You know, I grew up in kind of a broken home early in my life, to where I'm trying to instill in these young men, you know, the sacrifice that it takes to be a good father and a good husband, and learn how to treat women with respect, and just be an overall good person. You know, I got to listen to Gene Stallings last night at the FCA banquet, and he just says it's so great and it's so simple. He just says, you know, do the right thing. And everybody knows the right thing. You just got to step back and do the right thing. And sometimes that means sacrificing a high price to be able to step back and do the right thing. So, you know, we talk about that. We had a team meeting yesterday, right when we got done, about, you know, do the right thing and come back Monday. And what I like to do on Mondays is I like to call one of my players up to me and say, hey, man, what'd you do this weekend that showed you want to be a part of this family? And what they know what I'm asking for is, what sacrifice did you make for someone that you love? And when you can get those young men to understand that, you know, it's fun to watch the process and the vision take place.
I think it's a great message that you're sending to the youth of the community, for sure. A couple more questions for you on our list today, Coach. More maybe lighthearted questions coming from our fans on social media. The fans want to know, you know, with the coaching history that you've had and all the various schools that you've been at, is there a particular coaching memory, one special moment that may stick out to you more than the rest?
Well, you know, when you know, obviously when Billy Dawson called me, and wanted me to come down, and just been able to coach with him for 2 years, and what he taught me, not on the field but off the field, and guiding the program and everything that ties into that, you know. But, you know, right now in my short career, you know, nothing tops, you know, that final buzzer going off in December of last year when we beat Greenwood for the state title. You know, and just been able to hug all the coaches and the players, and seeing the reward in their eyes, you know, for all the hard work they paid off for 2 years. Because when we got to Russellville, we took over a group of guys that had never had a winning season. You know, and our seniors this past year, they had never had a winning season their whole football career, you know, and they were able to go out 12-1 in state champs, and that was pretty neat to be able to send those guys out like that.
Yeah, something every student athlete dreams of, finishing on top for their high school careers, and certainly a moment that those students will always remember as well. Coach, last question we've got for you here. We always like to ask the coaches this, just to get a little bit input on how their brain works, so to speak. But we want to know what your favorite sports movie is and why.
My favorite sports movie and why? You know, right now, that's a great question. I love baseball. I'm a big baseball guy. I really like to sit down, and I've watched it 100 times, but For the Love of the Game with Kevin Costner. Just how the movie was laid out with him pitching that game, and all the flashbacks he had in his career, kind of him knowing that was going to be it because his arm was hurting so bad, and he was tired, and, you know, to be able to go out, like you said, everybody wants to go out on top, and you know, that movie displayed him going out on top. But For Love of the Game, and then Remember the Titans, the era that movie was filmed in, and how they had to mold young men, and what those young men were having to go through off the field. You know, and I think that was a movie with me growing up that was really a prime example of brotherhood and what a football team could do for a community that had so much going on. And you know, I think Friday nights to a lot of people are times to kind of go and kind of get out of that negative society that has been placed on everybody. You go to a football game and hopefully catch a fun, exciting game and kind of just be able to relax for 2.5 hours and be a part of something that's bigger than every one of us.
That was Coach J.D. Plumlee, head coach of the Fountain Lake Cobras. On behalf of Tracy Simpson and myself and all the Cobra fans out there, we're really excited for the future of this great program. 2017 looks to be a very exciting season, and we really can't wait for September to come. Good luck to you, Coach, and the team this year.
Thank you. Go Cobras.
Fountain Lake football returns this fall on your home for Fountain Lake Athletics, 92.9 KVRE FM and online at kvre.com. Stay tuned to our Facebook page all summer long. That's facebook.com/FL Radio for more preseason updates on the Cobras this summer. For Tracy Simpson and the entire 92.9 KVRE crew, I'm Mark Oliver. Go Cobras!